dishes. They would fit perfectly. The dishwasher could be started. Chef's kiss. I said, please, would you put your dishes in the dishwasher and start it? He said, yes. And what did he not do? That's me.
Simple. It's a dishwasher.
Right? Okay, so we could get wrapped up in my frustration. I appreciate the empathy. Who else has frustration? Yes.
Well,
okay.
sorry, Kathy, you sat at our table, so guess what? You get to start us off.
I promised we wouldn't do this. Marnie didn't.
But
Sorry.
I didn't. So, Kathy, what is your frustration today? Or
yeah, if you could get, and into the microphone, Kathy.
But you get to pass it along. Okay.
Okay, I hate it when people make clothes that have the tags that stick out the back.
Excellent. Throw it. Throw it hard. Throw it.
Hey,
There we go. Okay.
Whoever touches it, you get to.
Sorry, but not sorry. Okay. And you are?
I'm Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Nice to meet you all.
What's frustrating to you?
Oh my God. This is frustrating.
I love an honest
It's like
answer.
you just like, that's it.
Okay, you can leave
This
now.
is not a thought.
Pass it on.
Hey, that's awesome. It's honest. Oh, that's a good throw.
All right, is there a microphone? Thank you,
throw.
Nicole. All right.
Hello, I'm Suzanne.
Suzanne.
And I'm frustrated when I wake up and my dream was about work.
Oh, you
yes.
didn't even get a break.
Yeah. Did I actually sleep?
Yeah, exactly.
Good. All right.
We'll do a few more and then wait. We won't make
Oh,
everybody do it.
I love
obvious.
it. She's just deciding who next. Good. That's initiative.
Heavy breathers.
Oh, I love that.
No further comment needed.
It's understood. Understood.
I think it's you,
Where
Jen.
are we at next?
Heavy breathers is a good one.
Yeah.
People.
People. That's then you're at the wrong place because there's a lot of people here. No, but elaborate.
My kids frustrate me a lot.
Get that. We're moms.
Yeah,
Get
we
it.
get it. We get it. We'll bring it back this way because we don't want to frustrate you any more than we already have.
Okay.
So, Nicole, what have you noticed about the energy in the room
Okay.
since we started this?
Yeah. So, the emotions, like the answers came pretty quick from those who wanted to answer. We all, seemed to know what frustrated us. Also, I'm just noticing the EQ in the room seems pretty high. So like we're talking about strengths-based goals here. So yeah. How about you?
Beside being frustrated, I want to know what anybody else feels right now.
Yeah. Did that exercise trigger anything in you?
Fair? Fair? Please don't come to me. Like, I do not want to do this. No, fair. That's an honest one. What I noticed is you were all really super polite. You sat down, you were chatting amongst yourselves, and you had your snack or you didn't have your snack. You're thinking, oh, lunch, I have one more session, then I have lunch. That's what you're thinking about. Now, all of a sudden, you're like, hey, I feel pretty good, and I feel like this is going to be an all right session. We hope so. That's our promise to you today anyway.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for being such good participants. We know that putting people on the spot is not ideal. Trust me, I hate it too.
We should tell you what's in the session, shouldn't we?
Yes, I'm the
Is the
clicker. I'm
clicker
going to be
working?
bad. I'm going to try. Here we go. Agenda.
Okay. So there's a key point we wanted to underscore. The frustration, that comes pretty easily. We can think about, what frustrates us, and there are a lot of subtler emotions that impact us throughout the day. And so by tuning into those, we can then understand the impact of those on our own decision making, on our influence, because others are using their own emotions to make decisions. And so that's the importance of EQ. It's impacting everything we say and do, everything others around us say and do. And so by understanding it better, understanding why we should understand it, like what are the practical applications, and then understanding how to grow it, we can all elevate our impact and our own performance and decision making.
Yep, exactly. The agenda today, we will talk about a little more in depth of what EQ is, or emotional intelligence, as we go along. We will describe it in 4 pillars so that it's easy to understand and it's relatable, but yet it's practical. We will also talk about some applications and some techniques to implement them. And then, of course, we're going to give you a little free assessment that you'll be able to access as well. And probably we'll send that out, or we'll get get that to you from the group here. But we want to be able to have you have the opportunity to check it out, see where you're at, see what you're strong in, see where you maybe want to work on a little bit more. A lot of this is going to be about awareness, but also a little bit about application as well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start about what is YQ, and this is the reasoning part. And let me see. Oh, so reason is and ought to be the slave of the passions, and can never pretend to any other office than to serve and obey them. That was from a philosopher in 1739. So from early philosophers to modern day social psychologists, there's been many arguments, hypotheses, experiments, and findings about the process of decision making, including the role of emotions or the passions in decision making. As it turns out, there are 2 types of cognition: intuition, which is that including that emotional responses, and the reasoning. We cannot contrast emotion and cognition. It'd be like the weather and the rain, like they're just together. It's just one. So emotions are a type of the information processing, and you guys process information all the time, but in more of a cognitive way. It's just to say that they are not a defect to get rid of or in order to think it's better, it's just different. So allow me to underscore this fascinating story. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio studied patients who suffered damage to the specific part of the brain that left them with near zero emotionality. They show no signs of defects in IQ, so they were completely aware and bright. But when it came to making decisions in their personal, professional lives, including purely analytical and organizational tasks, they made bad decisions or no decisions at all. Interesting. And so why do you think that is?
Okay, I've got a story to kind of illustrate. If you can imagine, for instance, you're in the market for a new appliance. Let's go with my dishwasher theme.
She loves dishwashers.
Right. A dishwasher saved my marriage in our first year, I tell you that. So imagine you're buying a dishwasher. What do? You hop onto your search engine, you get 22 examples coming up, options, and you go from there. You need to narrow it down to 1. Now, if you can imagine, I'm making up that you don't have any strong emotional ties to any particular dishwasher, and nothing's bringing you joy or pain as you examine the specs. Therefore, it's a highly conscious verbal reasoning process. So you take your 22 dishwashers and you read all the specs, you weigh out the pros and cons, and you come down to 1. And if you're like me, it was exhausting and you hope you never have to do it again unless you have to save your marriage. So this is decision-making fatigue. If you can imagine that someone without that emotionality, as you were with your dishwasher selection, had to make decisions ongoing, day to day, in every moment, what they were going to do or say or not say or do, it's decision-making fatigue. And so this is why, again, emotionality it's not a defect. It actually makes us better at decision making. And so therefore we don't want to get rid of it. We just want to learn to work with it better, to understand how it works in ourselves and in others.
So reasoning comes first. Oh, sorry. No, reasoning comes last.
Reason comes last.
See, even after we make a decision, which is interesting because you think it would be the other way around. However, emotions come first, always. So you're going to have a feeling, whatever it is, and you're going to have to make a decision on that. And it's not something that's how powerful and important it is. It's if we can master those emotions at the get-go in ourselves, and it can influence others as well. This is a powerful everyday tool that supports our success of your project, gives you the opportunity for the promotion that you're trying to seek, and really lowers your stress levels. And really get that decent night's sleep and not think about work all night long. Who doesn't want that? I sure want a good night's sleep. So we've all heard it. What it really is EQ. Well, Goldman defines emotional intelligence as the ability to recognize and understand and manage our own emotions, and to recognize and understand and influence the emotions of others. The stuff is simple when you think about it, but it is not easy. It's not. It takes practice. It takes courage. It takes great awareness. And that's where we're going to start right now. So, like we said, we have the 4 pillars, and the first one is the self-awareness piece. And I believe they're all important, but I personally believe this is a huge and most important one. You have to grasp first and foremost, or you cannot really move on to the others most effectively. You can, but you're not going to get the full benefit if you don't have the self-awareness. It starts with us. It starts with you, right? So think of self-awareness as just like having a superpower. We heard about superpowers this morning. And it lets you see inside your own mind. It's about turning your emotions, recognizing your strengths and weaknesses, and understanding how they're shaping you every day as a single person. When you're self-aware, you notice the response and the stimulus that led to it. When we think about the responses, they're really layered. They compromise our attitude, thoughts, feelings, behaviors, actions, which all lead to the results. It's like owning your own emotional playlist as such. Like, we have certain tracks that get us pumped and certain ones that get us stressed or sad or upset. The skills help you to make decisions, better decisions, manage tricky emotions, and we all have them because there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of good, and there's a lot of tricky ones. But that we can correct them in a more authentic way. The more self-aware you are, the better you are to align your actions with your values, boost your confidence, and take on the challenges like a pro. Because there's lots of challenges that we have to deal with at times.
Yeah. Okay. So self-awareness, response.
So we're gonna share a story that kind of gives us the relatedness and gives you the understanding a little bit deeper on the self-awareness piece.
Yes. Marnie and I are both executive coaches, and so I know this story well, but I had to change or omit identifying details. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading here. So a CEO came to me with a pain point. Her plate, like many of us can probably identify with, was very full, and she needed her senior leadership team to take on more scope. While she believed in their capability, she observed that they lacked confidence in decision-making and navigating leadership challenges. So when I met with the senior leadership team, they were actually not a team. They were a collection of burned out, 1 foot out the door individuals, and 1 foot out the door because their plates were full too. Business as usual was not sustainable. They felt like they couldn't take on more, which included meeting with me on an ongoing basis. So nevertheless, we all persisted together. I took the team through an EQ leadership program, and through the experience, they first addressed their individual challenges like workload and burnout. And they themselves brought forward the issue of low confidence and realized where it was coming from. They weren't trusting themselves in their day-to-day, that their own experiences that business as usual was not working. They were simply just trying to power through with no end in sight. And so once they acknowledged their experience, they thought creatively about what changes they could make and had the energy at that point to do something about it. Additionally, by going through that experience together, they did grow together and become a team. They cared for each other and realized they could support each other in like a socio-emotional way, but also in really practical ways. And so, the organization was quite siloed, but they were realizing how they could come together in collaborative spaces themselves and their teams. So this led to team coaching, where they designed their own team, the way in which the whole would be greater than the sum of the parts. And from this, a culture change initiative naturally emerged, so their own teams could experience the newfound culture of care, fun, support, and innovation that they'd created on their leadership team. And finally, with confidence, sustainable ways of working, and a culture of engagement addressed, they came back for training on skills that would support their increased scope, recognizing their strengths and their weaknesses.
So exactly, the self-awareness is about realizing your strengths and weaknesses. And most importantly, it's about recognizing your emotional patterns.
Yeah.
My emotional pattern, I'm a redhead inside. Whoa,
Can confirm.
She's a redhead outside. Okay, so no, but seriously, that we get excited, and if something's not right, woo, so I recognize that in myself. That's a weakness, but I also have a strength. I have the opposite side of that was this passion. So you have to understand the patterns, but what the counteractor is. When we do that, we become better human beings. Period. We're going back to basics here when we are talking so much wonderful things today, but we are going back to basics. We just want to be better humans. Therefore, we can be better leaders, and we can be better, people, spouses, parents, friends. So this will help us to act in more kindness and more empathy. So I want to take a moment, and nobody has to answer because I'm not going to put you on the spot again, but I just want you to think about a couple of questions. As you create your awareness, what has been a reoccurring problem at your work? Take a minute to just think about what has been a reoccurring problem at your work.
Or maybe it's just a top of mind problem, but we're going to be using this to work through with these different lenses. So
Now I want you to imagine this problem or situation or issue, whatever it may be, occurring in slow motion. Now it's just slowing down. What emotions do you experience when you think of it in a slow motion kind of way?
see some smiles.
Yeah. Is there any other emotions that come up when you're kind of reliving this in a slow motion kind of way? Is it as annoying or frustrating as it was when you thought about it? Do you feel more uncomfortable or uncomfortable because you're now addressing it even more intently? But maybe it's like, hey, it's not so bad. What other important information are you carrying around that might have relevance to that? And that could be like, is there stuff outside of your work that's going on? Is there other things that are kind of clouding it a bit? Maybe there's some health issues. Maybe, you know what I mean? So think about how that all brings impulse together. Now we're going to talk about the self-management. Whoop, see, I wasn't, there we go, the self-management part. So we've got the awareness piece, and now we're going to talk about the self-management piece.
Great. So self-awareness, stimulus response, and self-awareness is simply about creating a space between stimulus and response. And in that space is choice. It is choice for what you want that response to be at as your best self. Our responses can be layered. I'm wondering, no, we're on a different slide.
Am I?
No, we're good. I didn't want, I'm just, spoiler alert. We'll come to responses in a moment. And so what I did want to say here is actually that we are quite used to, it can be a common pattern to really identify with our emotions. When they come, they have to be true. We tend to believe every thought we have, and we tend to just, identify with the emotions we feel. my first degree was linguistics, and so I find language fascinating. And in the Irish language, they don't say I am sad, I am angry. They say I am carrying sadness or anger. I have sadness or anger. And so in that way, it's a temporary state and we're not identifying with it necessarily. We just recognize that it's here. It has information with it and it has impact and it will be gone. So, I don't think there's anything else I want to say, Marnie. Do you want to tell a little story about this?
Okay, well, I had an executive leader that came to me not long ago and said that I've been promoted in this role. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be hiring somebody under me, and they did. But the challenge was he was going to have to train that new person. And how hard is it to train somebody that is not you? You know the job better than anybody. You've done it for a number of years, and now you have to train somebody and let them allow themselves to be them. But they have to do it my way. It's the best way. And you know what? There's a lot of good ways. What was happening was this employee who hadn't made the probationary period yet was really struggling. And the struggle was, it wasn't that this person was not smart. They were brilliant. They had lots of years experience, but a different industry. So the industry that the employee came from was hospitality and management and that kind of thing, but couldn't relate to the new industry. So it was great that we worked through this with the senior leader, and he thought, you know what, if I bring my ideas in the context of hospitality, will that have more relatability? And bingo, just like that, because they had all the processes, they had all the manuals, they had everything in paper that he had read through, but it wasn't clicking. So when he made that switch, he was able to really get that knowledge base transferred over, and it was fantastic. What the key was is that the senior leader was frustrated. He was at the point of, do I let him go? Do I not let him pass his probation? He had invested a lot of time and energy in this, and he was getting to the point where, I don't know if this is worth it. But we know in these industries, we need to hang on to the really good people. And we need to train and grow them. But when he did that, the light bulb went off, and they both gained knowledge, confidence, and trust with each other. It really, really was a win-win. And his first instinct, I said, was to let him go. He followed his intuition. He followed his self-awareness. He followed, okay, there's something that I'm not doing right now that's not working. And it was, we need to adapt. I need to adjust, because that was the missing link. And he is now a better mentor. He's a better trainer, and he's kept a great employee, and they are thriving. So it's just, sometimes you just really have to think about what's possible outside the box, but really think about that self-awareness and that self-intuition. It's huge.
Go ahead. All right. Bringing it back to how to apply this. So think back again to that favorite problem you chose. What important informations are your information that your emotions are carrying do you need to act on? How would your best self, your favorite self, that self you want to be, engage with that problem in a new way? And how can you show up in a way that promotes trust in you?
Because without trust, what do we have?
What do we have?
We don't have a lot.
We don't have much relationship. Well,
That's
not a good
right,
one.
exactly.
Look at that.
And that wasn't even on my sheet. No.
It is next.
It
Great
is next.
segue.
Hey, relationship awareness. Again, we've talked about self-awareness. Now this is the relationship side. It really, like I said, that intuition, that sixth sense, that gut thing, is trying to, you can't go in anybody's brain, but there are cues, and there are options that you can figure out what people are coming, if they're coming to the table like this, you kind of know that they're kind of feeling defensive, you know? It's really picking up in the unspoken cues. understanding how your words and actions affect them around you. That's also in, written technology, texting, emails, and also verbal. So how are you languaging things to individuals? And this, again, we want to go back to basics. How cool is it if we actually got a phone call? We don't get phone calls very often anymore. But honestly, it's about time. We get that. But really, I really want to make a conscious effort at thinking, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to send that email, send that text. But you know what? I'm going to follow up with a phone call, even if it's a 1-minute phone call to say, how are you doing? Did you get that? Does that make sense? And get the tone, get the tenure, figure out where that person is coming from. Because that is going to have a huge impact on your personal and professional relationships going forward. You give a shit. She doesn't like when I say that.
That is not HR approved.
Nope. And I'm an HR person. and okay, crap, whatever. We really want to build that relationship because we talked about the collaboration. If you're going to have collaborations, you have to build that relationship. If you can sense that motivates people and what they need, you're going to create that trust even more. You're going to have more authentic relationships, and you're going to have better conversations, better team dynamics, better solutions. So, hey, call it I'll be all techie here, GPS.
You're getting
Your
along with tech
emotional
again.
GPS.
All right.
'Cause I'm not techie at all. Anyways, I'm trying. Anyways, yeah, your emotional GPS.
Good. All right. I've got another little story I'm going to share. So for context, I met an experienced leader, senior leader in technology through a coaching engagement. It was during a particularly turbulent time in the industry. The organization experienced the pressure of navigating that uncertainty and volatility in real ways, and it was coupled with a business critical launch of a new product. So my client was pulled in many directions with far too many top priorities for anything to be a top priority. So he drafted his own 5 strategic pillars around which he planned his works and his meetings, his time and energy allocation. And anything that didn't fit into these priorities was delegated or deleted from his calendar or to-do list. So here's the relationship awareness piece. My client had a 360 evaluation done. So the evaluation collected data from his leadership, his peers, his team, and any other dotted line reporting relationships. The assessment, it wasn't interview-based, so he went on a listening tour to follow up on responses and gain more information and nuance to the feedback that was given. He learned that while being pulled in many directions, his trust in his team and his empowerment of them actually led to the sense of his being absent from them. They needed more support, more coaching, more organizational awareness and context from him. So through the feedback, he realized this and he used the information. He scheduled and planned regular check-ins according to the feedback and made sure the meetings were right, not just in cadence, but in content as well to make his team the most effective he could be. Thank you, hon.
I think we're a good team relationship.
Good.
There we go.
All right. Over to you.
Okay. The value of the relationship awareness is in the workplace is critical. Instead of reacting defensively or let's just push harder, push through it, choose to understand the emotional content and adapt your approach like my client did before, because that's going to be your win. This will not only help the immediate concern at hand, or the question, the concern, or the problem, but also strengthen the long-term relationship, paving the way for future collaborations. Again, we need to work together to get to a better place, and what we need to do as human beings, especially in these industries that are very, very important to all of us. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a user, and I need to know that we can work together. Mm-hmm. So back to the reoccurring problem that you first thought of. Is there a new perspective or organizational awareness that might shift the problem a bit? Is there something that you can do that might close the gap of what needs to happen? So the gap exists between your intentions and your impact. So what are your intentions with being part of the solution? And what is your impact to being part of the solution? Where have you stopped listening? And where do you need to start again? Because we tend to get very focused and tunneled. Where have we stopped listening? It's one thing that I really want to emphasize. And I will change. I'm getting there.
I was actually seeing if there was a clock on the computer I could see.
There we go.
I got it. Doing. All right. Oh, fab. We're doing great. Okay. So we're on to relationship management now, the fourth and final pillar of EQ. So, like the earlier study said by Jonathan Haidt, in something that justifies reason to me, reason comes last. First emotions, then a judgment, and then we use reasoning to influence others. Baffling. Have you ever found yourself in opposition to someone's idea or way of doing things?
Never.
Ever? Ever?
Never.
Okay. You're the only
Never.
one.
Come on. How?
Marnie's, yes, everyone agrees with Marnie, or else you get the redhead. Okay, so when we do disagree, what do we try and do? We often just double down on our position, and we disagree in new ways without changing our position. We become more vehement, more emotional, and people receive that and have a response to that stimulus. We reason with people, but their reasoning came last. So now you know that you can start to address that emotion that came before the decision. So again, we're creating a space between stimulus and response in order to try something new. And this something new simply starts with 4 words. Help me understand more. It also starts with your state. Adam Grant, an organizational psychologist, famously said that curiosity is the most underrated tool of persuasion. Henry Ford would have agreed. If there's any one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from their angle as well as your own. We can all pick up when someone's genuinely curious and listening deeply versus fishing for ammunition or forming their counter-argument. So we all need to remember that this person is our partner in productive disagreement. Iron sharpens iron. You can come out together on the other side of a disagreement with a more robust idea or process or some clear risks to mitigate. If you engage well, it's an opportunity. Marnie.
Okay. Last story, I promise.
Oh, from you, second last story. Go on.
Oh, yeah, for me. Okay. Had a team coaching component. Again, there was a team that was really falling apart. Let's just put it that way. They were falling apart. They were really robust at one point, but things had changed, processes have changed, demands had changed, client needs had changed, and they were just not doing well. And so I was brought in and to help with their overwhelm, their frustration, their potential burnout. And I decided to look at each of them individually and to find out what was on their plate and what they were expected to do. And then I took an assessment, a strength assessment on all of them and determined what their top 5 strengths are. So then I did a combination of their duties and their strengths. And I put it all on a chart, and I shared it with the senior leadership person that I was dealing with. And it was really, really obvious at that point. They weren't matched up at all. Their strengths were not matching with what they were doing. They were really struggling because it was just so onerous on all of them. So with the permission of the team and sharing all the results, we got all of their authorizations. We shared it with everyone at the table. And they went, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm not stupid. I'm not like an idiot here trying to push through. So we just did some refining. Okay, this is, a new project. You're really good at the client relations piece. We're going to go there. You're really good at this. The closer, we're going to go there. We did some realignment, and when we did that, it was just fantastic. Here's the key. We had some really great, smart people in the room. And we were probably going to lose some, either to health or to leave the industry altogether. We'd have lost all of that talent, all of those resources, and we would have been back to square one and probably continue with the same pattern. With that, we were able to save every single one of them. There was nobody called up in a performance review because they weren't doing their jobs, and we were able to see such great results. So that was a real win-win again, and very thankful that we had the team that was open enough to hear what had to change. And that was at the top as well.
And I've heard the unscrubbed version of this, and they were open enough because it was at a crisis point.
It was.
And so don't let it get that bad.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go back to my story. The senior leader, the 360, the five
Oh,
strategic
good. I thought it was
pillars.
a dishwasher. No more
No,
dishwashers. Okay.
I couldn't fit a dishwasher into this one. Sorry.
Okay.
So I left out an interesting piece. It's a great example of relationship management. During his post-360 listening tour, my client also shared his draft strategic pillars, one of which was people, to check his thinking and design from other perspectives. The pillars were well received all around, including by his team. Recognizing that his team was also facing the issue of workload and prioritization, he requested that they undertake the same planning exercise. Introducing this tool in this way allowed his team to first evaluate the concept and application without direct impact on them. Once the team saw the value of the tool, he then asked them to do the same. What could have felt like one more to do and activating emotions like fear, anxiety, and overwhelm was instead viewed as a valuable exercise that would save time and headache. And my client was seen as a leader who wouldn't ask his team to do anything he wouldn't do himself, which was one more contribution to an already high-trust team.
Yeah. Yeah, that awareness was huge, that trust in the team. The importance of relationship management allows us to look underneath positional differences, to hear what other needs people are meeting by choosing their position or meeting. By bringing these needs to light, you can together design a solution that fits best together. So let's pick up one last time, and we're not going to think about this problem again for at least another few minutes. So let's pick up that reoccurring problem one last time, knowing that your emotions come first, your decision, and then your reasoning. With with organization awareness in mind, how can you engage with key stakeholder emotions, so the people that have some influence over that, and what do you need to meet with individually as a subgroup or as a group? You don't have to do this alone. Again, this is simple, but it's complex, and it's not easy. Under what conditions and toward what outcome? This takes practice and practice and more practice. It really, really does. But we're going to give you a few techniques. There's a lot. We recognize that we only have so much time, and we would encourage you to look it up as to many others that could affect you and could help you. So,
Yeah. The good news is that you can practice anytime, all the time, because in every moment we are faced with EQ type stuff.
Yeah.
So for self-awareness, is that me or you?
yeah, that's you.
That's me.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's just a little too close.
I'll do this.
Yeah.
All right. So for
There was no emotional awareness there.
no,
Yeah, we were
just
like,
no
"Woo!"
awareness.
Yeah.
We have an EQ. There are many free online tools. We've got an EQ self-assessment that we can send to you. And so coming up on the screen in a little bit will be a QR code. Sign up to our mailing list. We'll send you that. We'll send you some resources. You'll also be entered in a draw for one of 3 EQ-related books. We've got copies of which books those are on the author's table at the back of the main room. Self-management. Three suggestions here. One, check in with yourself and with others. What's in your emotional backpack right now? That's another metaphor for, thinking about what emotions are you carrying. You are not them, but you're carrying. Mindfulness, which is just simply using your senses to bring your focused attention to the present. It can be 30 seconds. You don't have to spend an hour in a dark room with candles and a sound bowl. And then finally, who enjoys reading or used to enjoy reading before you had to read certain things? A lot of you. Great. Pick up a book, because now there's added benefit. If you read fictional books that have complex characters, that develops your EQ as well. Marnie.
Okay. And so that's the self-management side, the self-awareness side. Now the relationship side is, I know we've heard employment engagement and cultural surveys. I know that. But that is something that is really important, but we do need to do something with results. We need to be able to listen and take note of that. But that is a great tool for gathering information and to see where the issues are and move forward on that. 360 evaluations on ourselves, they're hard to hear. Sometimes they're really hard to hear, but they're really great tools that will provide a lot of insight and a lot of knowledge so that we can grow and develop.
Can I just interject to say,
Yeah.
dialing down the fear of 360s, you also get to hear about your strengths
That's
and the way
true.
you shine.
That's-
It's not all the bad constructive
That is exactly
stuff.
true. Thank you, Nicole. That is so true. That's true. And also, listen for the feedback. Get some dialogue going. We have a LinkedIn. Check us out. We get on there, and we're not perfect, but we're not even close. But we are trying. But we want to show that we can be human, and we can create this great awareness within ourselves.
Can I interject one more time?
No.
Well, I'm going to anyway.
Okay.
Sorry. The next video we decided that we are taping is about feedback. We often conceptualize
Yeah.
feedback as giving and receiving, but actually creating a feedback dialogue creates a lot more good awareness. And so we're going to model that. So
Yeah, and that what we talked about earlier in the sessions earlier, not we, they, the creativity, right? It's like, oh, and then it's like, then the things just pop up. It's like
You think
popcorn.
together.
Yeah, exactly. 4 words that Nicole said earlier. Help me understand more. Powerful. And this can be at home with your kids, whoever. Help me understand more. Have those open-ended questions. Don't just have, so you won't get the yes, no answers. You'll get some real feedback. And then go and. Hey, now you're going to find out those layers and what's really going on. And with that genuine curiosity, just how are you doing? What's going on? What's your thought process here? Why is this of a concern or a question for you?
good. Now, I think we're on our final slide.
Oh, see, I wasn't
Are
very
we-
good in these slides,
Oh,
guys.
that's all right. Now,
There we go.
now we're on the final slide where we just say, scan here if you want the books and the free EQ assessment. We would love to be in contact with you. And we are so grateful to have had you here with us for these 50 minutes. And you've
Thank
been
you.
a real pleasure.
Thank you for your grace. We're new to this as a team, but we're not new to this business, and so we're really thankful to be here today. And we're learning a lot from you, amazing people. So we really appreciate your time today.
You
So
also
thank
may
you.
have noticed we were not on the original agenda.
No.
So there was a family emergency
We're
from
filling.
the original speaker. So thank you again
for
being
coming.
so
we thought we
good.
might have 5 people, so
Yeah.
thank you.
If there's time, we'll take questions.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think we have time for a
Yeah.
few questions. Is there any questions for
Challenge
Marty
us.
and Nicole?
Yeah.
Yes.
So my question is, we talked about self-awareness, relationship, and the management part. It's so easy for us to go from, like, I am feeling this, to jumping into the decision right away. So I know that you mentioned being more mindfulness and checking with the self-emotion, but what is like one example that you lady use throughout the day to help you say, okay, let's just slow down and see what my emotions am I carrying?
You got it right there. You just said it. The power of pause.
Yeah, but it's so easy to like, I am so pissed right now. I just need a solution. I can't just
Powerful.
pause.
You know what? It is. But you know, but you're right. That if you can, you will get there. Trust me, I'm a redhead inside. You will get there. No, but honestly, it's really, you're aware of it though, right? I'm pissed off right now. So what can I do? I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to remove myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Do not send a text. Do not send an email.
Right.
You know, do not send an F-bomb.
Yeah.
Okay?
I can build on
Yeah,
that too.
yeah, please build on it.
Yeah.
You said take a walk. You're in a meeting.
Good question. Yeah, yeah.
On Teams. I literally sit on my hands. I literally sit on my
Yeah.
hands so that I do not take myself off mute.
Yeah.
And there's other times I deliberately do not turn my camera on because my
'Cause
face is telling
you're-
you
yeah. There's that-
exactly how I'm feeling.
I am
Because
dying. Can I?
There's
Yeah,
so
she, this is, I love this.
and I try, and I know, I
Nope.
say, you're not going to say anything.
Yeah.
And I betray myself.
Yeah.
So I don't,
Okay.
I don't know. And then also to build on that, so, you know, what was that saying? You know, help me.
Help me
Help me
understand
understand more.
Okay, so my problem is you have your thoughts and you have your thoughts, and I'm in this group, and we need to get all together, and we're not together.
Not aligned. Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. No, go ahead, Nicole.
All right. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I love that. We're
I'm
gonna
gonna
address
pick
the
up
first one.
both.
Yeah, okay.
And so, in terms of creating that space between stimulus and response, there's another framework that I really like, and we drew from part of it, like mindfulness, bringing your focused attention to the present, rubbing your fingers together, that touch. You know, I can do that in a meeting, and so that's one way to do it. But this other framework talks about tapping into your own empathy, which can be empathy for you in this moment, and empathy for others, and curiosity. There are some others as well, but those are the two most powerful ones that are applicable. Now, I'm curious about your situation more. What I'm making up when I hear your experience is that this is not the first time you've met with this group and just experienced this dynamic. And so,
And I have to be here.
yeah, and so the information that your emotions are carrying is that this dynamic is not as effective and functional as it could be, and therefore, what can I do about that? Who can you meet with to stop talking about, the task level, the things you're focused on in the meeting, the agenda, but the level of pattern. Here is how we engage with each other, and it could be a lot better. And that's the conversation you start having, so that any other conversation just builds on a good foundation.
That comes back to that team that I had to deal with that was just falling apart because they were not aligned at all. So going back and having those honest conversations at the powers that be to say, look, this isn't working for me. I'm going to tell you why. I have to sit in my hands. I have to take myself off the camera. Something's not right here, and we need to talk about it further. I shouldn't be having these emotions. And so what's going on? There's more to it, and to be able to really bring in that authenticity and that genuineness is going to be what will grow that team down the line, because we all grow from these challenges. We do. We have to. Or we just quit and die.
And here's
Right?
the EQ part. I actually never advocate a poker face, probably
No.
because I could never have one, but I advocate the EQ that goes into building the messaging around what is on my face, because you can interpret one thing, but I'm going to tell you what's going on.
And yeah.
I can see your lack of poker face
and
now.
you know what? You know what? And this is exactly what we do all. And your story is not unique, unfortunately. I wish it was. I wish it was.
Yeah.
But there's lots of tips that well, follow our page. We'll get some stuff to you.
Yeah.
Come talk to us after. We
Yeah.
had one over there first.
Yeah, I was wondering if you have advice for giving someone feedback when the feedback that you're giving them might be sort of part of their personality traits. So just something that happened to me recently, and I don't mean to offend anyone in the room, but someone that's has so much energy and always wants to come into meetings, delivering their ideas, and but sometimes the meeting agenda tends to go off the rails. But sometimes I find that feedback really hard to give, because it's like, I don't want to stifle their energy, I don't want to stifle their ideas. That's great, but how do you kind of walk that line between giving feedback, but not stifling something that is literally just someone's personality trait.
This, I think, is the beauty of a feedback dialogue, because you can just say exactly what you just said. Here are my fears around just giving you one-sided feedback that I'll sap the energy from the room, and instead, it's about what you said, the impact that person has in kind of their own default behaviors. And there's a space to design together, okay, how do I grow the EQ? It's that relationship awareness, the impact of, well, also that self-awareness and self-management. There's everything there. But by talking together about, okay, how do we define this problem? And so we're on the same page. Do we agree that something could be better? What's the vision? And therefore, how do we design a learning agenda? How do we grow this skill? And how can you support that person to do so?
My experience has been with clients, people want to know what the truth is. They want to know where they're at. And what you said, there's nothing disrespectful with that. You were saying, like, I don't want to stifle you, but we're off the rails here. We need to find out where that balance is for us and for you. Being open and honest is the best. It's not always the easiest. Right time and place, create a safe space. That's when you have built that relationship of trust. That's when it comes into play. They trust you. You're not leading them astray. You're not trying to, putting them in a bad light. You're trying to help them grow, and that's where the beauty comes in.
They trust that you've got the best in mind for them.
Yep. People want to know where they're at.
Any other question? Any more
there's
time
one in
for
the back.
questions?
There's one back here, real quick. Yeah. Yes. We can hear you.
Workplace, whether you're pumping gas or you're a CEO of a company, you may have a coworker in any job that is very emotionally unintelligent and makes all of their problems everybody else's problems. Whether
Right.
that is they're taking something personally that has nothing to do with them, or you're trying to give them some positive feedback. And I think it's hard for people around them not to cradle them and to support them and to try and make them feel better and kind of feel like you're babysitting them. And I'm just wondering, what is the best situation for that one sort of toxic or emotionally unintelligent person in your workplace to mitigate that?
Okay.
Empathy does go a long way, but it's not the only tool, right? I always think when I'm talking to somebody that's coming across, where is that coming from? We all have a lot under the water that we're dealing with, right? We're bringing work home, home to work, right? So what's going on? Where's this coming from? I noticed this. I come out with those open-ended questions in the sense of real, true caring and empathy. And then from there, we can at least open the door to have those conversations to say, you know what, I know you don't come to work every day to not do a good job, but can I be honest with you? This is how it's coming across. Because we all want to be in a good light. We all want to do a good job, but they may not recognize that. Go ahead.
I'm
Yep,
going to
you
take
can
a
answer
different
that.
tack.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yes, and to that.
Yeah, there's always an and.
Yeah, you can't change people who don't want to change.
No, that's true.
And so there's kind of the individual and the system level. As an individual, you set boundaries. It's not about you have to treat me this way. It's about this is how I will respond if you treat me this way. Be clear on what that is for you. You don't have to state it. You can just simply do it.
But I think that would be the end. I would try that approach first and then the end, because certainly the boundaries are super important to have.
Well, and it's both. It's being the person
Yep.
who you want to be in a difficult situation. So
Absolutely.
you can honor your values of care and empathy, and you can set boundaries because you're caring for yourself.
Yep.
Then I look at the system. What system is created that allows this one individual to really not thrive in their role?
Yeah.
And what can be done about that instead of making it just an individual problem, that person or the people around them that are managing them? What is the whole? What's really going on? And therefore, what could the solution be if you
Yeah.
define the problem at that level?
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Thank you so much for your participation and your.
Great questions.
Yeah.
Feel free to come talk with us later on through the
We're
conference.
going to be
too.
on around the whole day listening to some more great speakers.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, everybody. Just a round of applause for Nicole and Marty, please.
Thank you.